The Nebraska Cornhuskers just got a double dose of good news. Let's talk about it. My name is Aaron.
And I'm Paul.
And we are the Big Ten guys on the daily, ladies and gentlemen. Big Ten content, news, rumors, insights, analysis, all right here. Paul, tell them what they got to do.
Just go ahead and hit that like button, the subscribe button, get those alerts on. It's not that hard. And you don't want to miss all the Big Ten content we got coming.
Don't miss out. So today, Paul, we're going to jump into the big news that the Nebraska Cornhuskers are getting, and I think they are going to like it. Take it away, Paul.
Yeah, so if you've watched any of our Nebraska videos, first off, if you haven't, I encourage you to go back and watch them. We are pretty high on Nebraska this year.
We're buying stock in Nebraska.
And I think it's catching some national attention. I don't know if it's us. I don't know if people are, just starting to look more into them, but more and more you are seeing different college football analysts start to show the Cornhuskers some respect. So first things first, we're looking at our guy Phil Steele put out his surprise college football teams in 2025, teams that he thinks, hey, nobody's really talking about them, but I think they could actually be a lot better than people suspect. And I believe if you go down to number 7, you will find the Cornhuskers here. He's mentions, obviously, like everybody else, Dylan Raiola. Dude's a stud. Should only be getting better this year. But then he's going to have an even better play caller this year, Dana Holgerson. Tons of experience. Great. Honestly, he was a good head coach. I don't know how he doesn't have a head coaching job. Mm-hmm. But then, so we've talked about Holgerson in some of our videos, but what we haven't talked about is this Missouri edge rusher he mentions, Williams, I hope I'm not butchering it here, Nwaneri.
That's better than I would do it.
That's my best shot.
That's good.
So I hadn't heard of him. So I went and looked him up, and he was rated a 4-star in the portal, but he was just a true freshman last year and didn't get a ton of time to play. If you look at how he was recruited coming out of high school, he was the number 6 overall player in his class.
That's crazy.
The dude has some crazy talent, and one of the best things to go to the next level in the Big Ten is to have an elite edge rusher. I mean, you saw it with Ohio State last year. You saw it with Michigan with Mason Graham and Aiden Hutchinson. You saw it with Penn State with Abdul Carter. Like, when you have one of those guys who's just a beast on the edge, you can completely tear game plans apart.
Mm-hmm. And I also want to bring back, we mentioned this in one of our past videos, but I am also buying the stock on the Nebraska Cornhuskers because of Matt Rule. Matt Rule, in his 3rd year, every stop he has been successful. I don't want to beat a dead horse when I say that, but I always want to bring that up because, again, it's not only, hey, he's getting the players he wants and all these different things, but it's a culture shift. Baylor, Temple, he did at both those places. Both those places were awful. We just did a video not long ago on Penn State, and we talked about James Franklin. And what's funny is there's a lot of Penn State fans that aren't very happy with James Franklin. If you didn't know, I'm a Michigan State fan. Paul is a Michigan fan, and so from looking out from the outside at Penn State, James Franklin, sure, he hasn't won all the big games. But again, it's like with Michigan and Jim Harbaugh, there's a lot of Michigan fans that wanted to ditch him. And then it was, boom, he won a national championship. And that could be the same with James Franklin. But that being said, James Franklin coached at Vanderbilt, of all teams, and was successful there. If you can go coach at a team like Temple and then Baylor and do well, that's pretty impressive.
You're a good coach.
Not only do well, but like have some solid teams. I believe multiple or at least a double-digit win season. That's impressive. And so again, do not sleep on Matt Rule's teams, especially in the 3rd year. Holgerson is a huge pickup at offensive coordinator. Things are only looking up. People are starting to recognize the Cornhuskers. And I know before anyone says anything, sorry, Mike, before anyone says anything, I know you're going to say, Well, you don't know the Nebraska Cornhuskers. I know. Again, we are people viewing this from the outside. There's a lot of good things to be looking forward to from the Cornhuskers, and people are noticing.
Yeah, and honestly, regardless of what their schedule was, people are talking about how much more talented this team was. But I think another big thing for Nebraska is their schedule is set up a lot like Indiana's was last year, where
Correct.
like people hated on Indiana in the playoffs, but they thumped some of these average teams. Obviously, they didn't beat Ohio State, didn't win their playoff game, but like they cruised through their schedule and were clearly a leg above most of the teams in the Big Ten, and I think Nebraska is going to be that way this year. And we had another article about some of the quarterbacks they're going to face. So Andy Staples came out with his list of the top 10 QBs in the Big Ten. First off, Dylan Raiola was among that group.
Of course.
But second off, they only play 4 of the top 10 quarterbacks. And if you look through the quarterbacks they're going against, obviously Drew Aller, maybe one of the few who people have higher expectations for than Dylan Raiola. But the other ones are Bryce Underwood, a true freshman from Michigan.
Yep.
You got...
Oh, my fault.
Yeah, if you want to scroll down a little bit, you can see...
Drew Aller?
Yep, Drew Aller.
Was it Nico?
Then they got Nico Amalivia. Dude's super talented, but UCLA is...
It's not Tennessee. It's not what
He's
he
not
had at
going to have
Tennessee.
the weapons he had at Tennessee.
Michigan's
Yeah,
quarterback.
then you got Bryce Underwood and then Mark Gronowski from Iowa. We're high on him, but I think Nebraska is a better team than Iowa this year.
Sure.
So
I would agree with that.
And I think Raiola is probably maybe not as experienced as Gronowski, but he's more talented.
There's a reason Dylan Raiola was ranked what he was coming out of high school, and then Mark Gronowski. There's a reason why he went to FCS. He did win 2 national championships, and I think he's progressed a lot in his collegiate career. But Dylan Raiola has a very high ceiling.
Yeah, so you're only going to see 4 of the top 10 QBs in the Big Ten, and we think your quarterback is for sure going to be better than 3 of them.
100%.
So, like, that is a crazy advantage to come out. And then you just look at the way this schedule breaks down. I mean, you got home. I mean,
at Maryland and at Minnesota.
That's the 2 teams you're probably going to want to play at on the road.
That's a joke. And then you literally you have 2 road games and you're like, gosh, that was a gauntlet. Psych. And then you go and play Northwestern at home, which should be a walk in the park. USC, who knows with USC? That's an interesting game. But UCLA at the Rose Bowl should be a joke. Penn State's going to be tough away, and in Iowa, you never know. That's going to be a tough game after Thanksgiving. But that all being said, you only have 4 away games.
Yeah, and 3 of them are against maybe 3 of the worst 4 teams on your schedule.
Easily.
Like, I mean, Michigan, even at home, is going to be tough. USC at home is going to be tough. Iowa is always a tough team to play, but I don't think it's ridiculous to say Nebraska could be 10-0 going into the Penn State game.
Yeah, I don't either.
Like, obviously, even your good teams are going to slip up. Wouldn't be a shock to see them lose to either Michigan or USC, but like, I'd be more surprised to see them any worse than 8-2 than 10-0. Like, I think it's more likely they're a 9 or 10 win team going into that Penn State game than they are an 8 team or 7-win team, which is pretty crazy to say about Nebraska.
For sure. And also think about this, and I'm not trying to say that UCLA game is a guaranteed win, but again, yes, as Paul said, I think UCLA they're not good. They're not good. They have Nico, but besides that, they're not good.
And it's not a huge home field advantage.
No,
there.
they do not sell out the Rose Bowl. It's embarrassing. And so I think there's a reason we haven't done a UCLA video. We probably will at some point, but we're not high on them. And so that's a good game to play. Even though it's away, it's a good game to play before a big game like a Penn State game. And I think that Penn State Nebraska game has the potential to be, big noon kickoff, college game, like a big time. Big time game
matchup potentially.
Yeah.
And I think there's a bye in between them. I think
That's correct. Yeah.
You get a bye week before Penn State. So who knows? Like that. I mean,
even more good news.
Yeah. Could have done a triple dose of good news.
Triple dose of good news. So on top of that, Phil Steele, other national people saying, listen, surprise teams make the playoffs. Nebraska, boom. We talk about the quarterbacks that they're going up against. Dylan Raiola, better than most of them. Awesome. And then we just continue to look at their schedule. Guys, things are looking up for Nebraska.
Yeah, get excited. You've been through some tough times. Just enjoy it. Have some hope.
Yeah.
It's okay.
You're not a Michigan State fan who's just hoping for a 6-6 season.
Yeah.
Have some hope. Enjoy it. Glass half full. Come on. You deserve it. You deserve it.
You guys are like our favorite fan base.
Yeah. Loyal.
Yeah, we love you guys.
Love you guys. If you haven't already, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and we'll talk later, Nebraska fans.
See ya.
Peace.